welcome to the Wise Take DFS podcast. I am your host, CK013. You can find me on Twitter at CK_013, and I am joined once again by one of Wise Take's finest DFS analysts, Mr. Johnny the Greek. You can find him on Twitter at GDaddy80, better known across the nation, Johnny the Freak. What's going on, Freakmore? How you doing, brother?
Not much, man. Just enjoying little impromptu barbecue that I had here. So always good when it's nice and not the bad weather and you can barbecue. It's pretty cool, living in California. And it's nice. Yeah, and then my girlfriend was off today. We had some issue with my dog last night, so she didn't get much sleep. We had to go to the vet really late, so she took off today. So we got to spend time with her. So it's kind of good times, man. DFS does bring some positive things in your life, and free time is always a good thing.
Oh, yeah, man. Absolutely. It must be nice to have some good weather, man. It's been a while since we've had some good weather here. It's been a while. A lot of rain.
I feel you, brother.
Not a lot of rain.
I feel you. Hey, you know what? I'll tell you this. I'd rather have the rain, though, than the extreme crappy humidity and heat that you guys had there for a while.
No, man. I mean, at least you can get shit. I can't do shit right now. I can't mow my grass. I can't go in the pool. I can't do nothing. It's just rain every day. And I'm battling algae, man. Like the rain that fuels the algae, and now I'm fighting with it every day, man. I'm out there fighting with this damn thing. I don't know what the hell I'm doing, but it's starting to look like England around here, bro. It's like gray skies every day. That's what it's starting to look like.
That's not good, dude.
No, just too much. Just too much. Anyway, man. We're not going to cover the 4-game early slate. We will at wisetake.com, so there'll be no strategy session tomorrow. But we will be covering 2 slates. Johnny will be writing a cash game article. I'll be writing a GBP article. We'll have an expert poll, all that good-ish. And then, of course, the main slate, all the usual content, minus the strat sesh. But we're just going to cover the 10-game slate on the podcast today. 5 games, usually the threshold that we cover on the shows. For content, it's 4 games, but for the podcast, it's usually 5. So we're going to jump right into this main slate. And it's 10 games, pretty nice size. We had a 10-game slate on Monday. I thought that was pretty cool. 15 games tonight. A lot of games, a lot of stuff to get through. And, I'm excited to get to this. Did you have any? I know you didn't play them in cash, but in tournaments, did you have any of that rain out kid Kopech?
No, I didn't. Yeah. I didn't do many lineups today. I just had too many things going on. I just didn't get there. But a lot of things that we talked about on the White Stream today came true. Talked about Brett Anderson today. We talked about all these guys, and everybody kind of came through for us. So if you aren't a member, you're definitely missing out.
Yeah. Yeah, that kid looked great, man. I mean, it's just a shame his first outing got ended because of rain. And according to Kevin Roth, the weatherman over at Roto-Grinders, it was like a freak thing. I mean, he mentioned there was some risk. I mean, he did mention there was some low risk, but he said exactly that. Like, you'd have to get unlucky for something to kind of pop up over the stadium, and that's exactly what happened. And unfortunately, it ended his start early because he looked really impressive, man. He was poised. His ball had some he's not just throwing hard. It's like, reminds me of Noah Syndergaard stuff where it's hard, but it moves. It's like, what I'm saying? It's just all over the place. That kid is going to be a force to be reckoned with. Anyway, let's go ahead and jump on to this 10-game slate here. We've got Zach Eflin of the Philadelphia Phillies visiting Steven Strasburg of the Washington Nationals. Total in this game currently 8.5. Washington minus 176. This is Strasburg's first start in quite a while, obviously. The Nationals, it sounds to me like Adams and Murphy are pretty much gone, but it does sound like Bryce Harper is staying with the team. So, what do you got here?
AKA, they couldn't find anybody to take them with what they wanted. It's the only reason they didn't move them. But, both these pitchers have, some form of interest for me. Definitely, the question is with Strasburg is just how much they can let him go in this game when they have nothing to pitch for anymore, nothing to play for anymore. And a couple of years ago, I remember when they were really in the hunt of things, how they shut him down, even though they were deep in the playoffs. So I don't think Strasburg's going to go deep in these games tomorrow. I think they're going to just kind of shut him down here. We might see some limited action, so don't be surprised if you see a pitch count on him tomorrow, especially DraftKings is telling us that when they price him at $9,900. And as CK you've been talking about, DK's algorithm knows pretty much all here, and something funny is going to happen with Strasburg tomorrow. So $9,900, I love the price. I love the matchup, but I think something's not right here with this price. And on the other side here, like Eflin, he's okay. I have some interest in him, but man, these bats here. There's a lot of talent here still left. Without Murphy and without Adams, there's still a lot here. So I don't think I can go to Eflin tomorrow. I think it's going to be Strasburg if we find out there's no limit, no pitch count, and that's really it for me. And the Nationals bats are firmly in play. I'm not going to stack this game. I'm probably just going to take a couple one-offs. Maybe Bryce Harper. I always love Anthony Rendon. He's too cheap in this matchup at 3,900. So that's the guy I'd probably focus on, maybe even Zimmerman. And then, we can look at Harper and the usual suspects. They're all cheap, so definitely in play.
Yeah, man, I'm looking. We're going to need some information. I thought maybe he would have had some rehab starts in the minor leagues. I'm looking at FanGraphs right now. I mean, I really don't see any unless this is like... I mean, I'll see, but it doesn't look like he had any rehab starts. No, it looks like the last time he actually pitched was in the minors was the 15th. He had already had a start, I think, in the majors at that point. Yeah, July 20th. So I haven't seen that he's pitched in an actual game. I mean, I'm sure he's thrown like bullpen sessions, simulated games, but he hasn't had any live actions in over a month. So it's kind of tough to. You got to think he's going to be on some kind of pitch count or something. I mean, it's got to be. When
I looked him up, I found that the last outing I saw was like a 4-inning simulated pitch, simulated game. So there has to be some limitations tomorrow.
Yeah,
there's no way he'd be priced at $9,800.
Yeah, you're gonna have to stay away. With that said, it does look like it's another good hitting environment in Washington. We did say they're going to put up a bunch of runs today. Not as humid, 55% humidity. I think tonight because of the rain, it was like 80 or 90. So not as humid, but still humid. The ball could carry. Phillies are cheap, but I don't necessarily know how badly I want to pick on Strasburg, even if he is not going to be that long. But I guess they could be sort of sneaky. The Nationals, though, definitely seem like a viable option. Harper's there. They still got a bunch of lefties. I mean, they were playing most of the season without Murphy anyway. Adams was platooning with Zimmerman. Zimmerman's been hot. I think the Nationals are fine. They seem to like go nuts, and then the next day when everybody's on them, they seem to kind of like not do shit. But yeah. And Eflin is not terrible. Like he's a serviceable pitcher. He's decent. So I would lean towards the Nationals bats. Either way, I'm not really looking at Eflin mainly because the Nationals don't strike out a ton. Like they can. It's just like, and they don't usually. So. Not too much I'm excited about here. Maybe the Nationals offense. Next up, Julio Teheran of the Atlanta Braves visiting Trevor Williams of the Pittsburgh Pirates. Total here is 8. Pittsburgh minus 110 at home. 69 degrees, 67% humidity, 10-mile-per-hour winds projected to blow out to center field. What do you got here, Johnny?
Sorry about the CK. I missed that. I cut out a second. What was the what game are we on right now?
The Braves and Pirates.
Okay, cool. So Julio Teheran here against Trevor Williams. In Pittsburgh, we get a little bit of a ballpark bump here for Teheran. There's a couple lefties here that always are going to worry us, but I think Tehran's fine here at his price, 8,100. I think it's kind of baked in. I think he could definitely have a decent game here. These lefties here for the Pittsburgh Pirates have been a little bit cold lately, but there always is some power there. So, if you want to stack against Teheran, he's probably going to get some ownership tomorrow. You can look at Corey Dickerson. You can look at Frazier, Polanco. Those guys are always in play. But really the projected lineup doesn't look really scary. So I think Tehran's fine. And then on the Braves side here against Williams, light up Freddie Freeman tomorrow. I don't like Ozzie Albies' lineup spot here if he's in the projected lineup. At his price, if he's going to be 6th, I just have no interest. You can always look at Markakis, Inciarte, and Acuna. They've been, pretty well. But Acuna, $5,700 against a righty, probably going to pass on that. So some Teheran here, definitely Freddie Freeman. And if I was going to fade Teheran, I would probably take some of the Pirates lefties.
Yeah, Teheran feels a little too expensive. I mean, Gausman was 7-1. He went out there and did the nasty to these guys. So did that rookie guy. I think Teheran is, in my opinion, he's just better suited against strikeout teams. Like, I really don't like taking he's not very good at pitching to contact. You know what I mean? He kind of needs the strikeouts. And the Pirates, while they are bad, they still don't strike out a ton. Kevin Gausman had like 5 strikeouts through 5 innings. And then I think he went 7 or 8 innings and he didn't get another strikeout the rest of the way. So like they are pretty stingy in that department. I don't really want to pick on Trevor Williams. I mean, he's not a guy I ever like to pitch because he doesn't have a ton of upside, and the Braves aren't that team. I mean, he don't strike guys out. Braves don't strike out. But he is actually pretty good at pitching to contact. I think if I was going to bet this game, I'd actually kind of lean towards Pittsburgh. But for DFS purposes, I just don't see a ton of value here. I don't see a ton of things I want. Pirate guys are cheap, but there's a reason for that. They've been ice cold. I'm always okay with Freddie Freeman just because I think that guy's just really good. But all in all, like the Braves' prices have come down for a reason. I'm with you on Acuna. Love the kid, but 5.7 it seems a little expensive in this park. Even if he hits a home run, you just think you can find that elsewhere for someone cheaper, especially an outfielder. So not a ton from this game I'm into. Lance Lynn of the New York Yankees visiting Trevor Richards of the Miami Marlins. Total in this game currently 8. Miami plus 170. At home, 79 degrees, 81% humidity, but they'll probably close the roof as they often do. We'll see. What do you got here?
Yeah, so Lance Lynn, had a last game didn't look so good, but before that, ever since he's been acquired by the Yankees, he's been pitching pretty good. I don't think I can go here at this price tomorrow. I understand he's pitching against the Marlins, but the Marlins aren't really that bad of a team. They're not really striking out a lot, as you can see from Tanaka today. Just couldn't really get any strikeouts over there. So they're not a great team, but again, they're okay. I'm gonna fade Lance Lynn tomorrow. Trevor Richards, not a guy I like to pitch, but his price is pretty cheap here, and the Yankees have been kind of stumbling lately. So I can see people going here. Probably not for me. I'd probably side with the Yankees bats. The guys that I'm really looking at are going to be like Hicks. I really like him tomorrow. I like Greg Bird here. I like Gleyber Torres and even Brett Gardner here at the top. I can see if you want to make a 5-man stack and throw in Stanton is fine, but that's really it. It's maybe a Yankee stack here. That's it for me. But I can see the love for Trevor Richards.
Yeah, this is an interesting matchup, man. I'm not a huge Trevor Richards guy, but I will acknowledge he's got a pretty nasty changeup. So I guess that's what it comes down to with the Yankees. They're a team. It's a big park. He's got that going for him. They're losing a DH, so you get the pitcher that's going to have to come up and bat. But the ultimate question, anytime anybody's going to see Trevor Richards, is can you hit his changeup? And he's got a pretty nasty one. He is a reverse splitsy kind of guy. It does look like Andujar has really good numbers against the changeup. So does Stanton. The whiff rates aren't that high. Maybe this is the day Stanton gets his revenge against his old team. Not that there's any bad blood, but maybe this is the day he dogs. He was pretty popular today. He had like 100 something, over 100 mile per hour exit velocity on a double. So he seems to be still seeing the ball pretty well. I could see Stanton, maybe Andujar, but I'm with you. I'm really not on this Yankees team. I do think Pablo Lopez, in my opinion, a little better than Trevor Richards, but at the same time, Trevor Richards, he's shown us some tremendous K upside. So at 5'8" in this ballpark with the Yankees without a DH, and with the Yankees looking of the way they've looked, I guess we could put him in the maybe pile. I do like Andujar and Stanton, though. And Lance Lynn, 8K feels a little expensive. It is Miami, don't get me wrong, but it does feel a little expensive. I mean, we saw Tanaka, who I think's got some pretty nasty K stuff, just really struggle for strikeouts today. He didn't have a bad day, just really struggled for strikeouts. So I'm with you there. Not too excited at Lance Lynn. John Lester of the Chicago Cubs visiting Francisco Liriano of the Detroit Tigers. Total here is 9. Detroit plus 165 at home. 72 degrees, 46% humidity, and 8 mile per hour winds blowing out to center. Johnny, what do you like?
Yeah, so they're dangling Francisco Liriano at us at $4,900. We're gonna get suckered into paying this low price for him tomorrow. For me, I can't go to Liriano. Just walking too many guys. It's just not for me here against these Cubs. John Lester. I really don't like pitching John Lester, but I can see people going to John Lester tomorrow, even though he's a little priced up at 82. I can still see them going there against these Tigers. Terrible offense here, but again, that's not for me. Cubs, I think, are in play again. They kind of let everybody down today. Didn't score a bunch of runs. Tomorrow, this spot, I should say, might be it's definitely a better spot for him. Against Liriano, I think you could take a look at all these guys here. It's the usual characters that we're looking at here. If you get a more at the top leading off, it's a good spot for him. Baez, Zobrist, and then the rest of the cast here, the only guy I really would fade here, this 1 through 9, really would be Hayward. He's just didn't look good at the plate today. I probably kick him out of my stack, but other than that, I can stack these guys up. It's not the strongest lineup, though. I just want to throw that out there. The projected lineup, there's going to be probably no Rizzo in there tomorrow, and we're still without Bryant. So it's not a really, really crazy have to stack kind of a team, but I think they're in a good spot here against Liriano.
Yeah, I don't normally like to take the Cubs too much against lefties, but Liriano's probably one of the exceptions to the rule just because of his walk rate, right? Like, he's going to walk so many dudes most likely, and even all the Cubs have to do is be patient, and they'll probably be able to get him out of there pretty early, in which we're going to see a lot of these right-handed bullpen guys probably come in. Javi Baez seems like an awesome play either way against Liriano. Obviously, Baez destroys lefties. I think Almora's okay, price at 4-1. It's not like a super value play, but if he's leading off, could be all right. Other than that, it is kind of tough. Like the guys you usually want to take the Cubs against righties now that Bryant's out there. So I think the Cubs are okay. They were kind of chalky today, and other than Rizzo, they kind of disappointed as a stack. So I could see people kind of getting pissed at them, kind of like the Brewers, right? Like the ownership on the Brewers was a lot lower today than it was the night before, and they actually did all right tonight. So. 5.6 runs, a lot of runs being applied for. Liriano's been awful. The Cubs could be kind of sneaky. Well, we'll see how sneaky they actually are. We got to see what other offenses are on the slate, but they could be in play. Javi Baez, I do like at 5K for show. Carlos Carrasco of the Cleveland Indians visiting Brian Johnson of the Boston Red Sox. The Boston Red Sox, who were just shut down by Shane Bieber. Total here is 9. Boston plus 105. At home, 79 degrees, 67% humidity. What do you think here?
Yeah, so you got Carlos Carrasco, who's been, he's been great. He's been good. He was good all year long, and then the last 30 days plus, he's been at like Chris Sale kind of numbers, almost at 40% strikeout rate. I think he's like 38% strikeout rate for the last 6 games. So he's been really borderline elite. I think, if it wasn't the Red Sox, I'd love him at 9,500. But I think the discounted price here at 9,500 is baked in, in this matchup. So I think you can go ahead and pitch him here. Probably wouldn't do it in cash, but in GBPs, I think it's a fair price. He's probably going to give him a home run or two here, but he can limit the damage. So I think he's fine here. On the other side, I don't have an interest in Johnson. Cleveland, I really don't like taking Cleveland bats, against lefties. I just like them I like all the switch hitters from the left side. So probably not going to play Jose Ramirez or Lindor tomorrow or Brantley, none of those guys. It's probably going to be a fade there. And if you're not going to pitch Carrasco, I think you could take a shot on like JD Martinez or Betts. I wouldn't go crazy with this lineup. I would just kind of take one of those guys in a GBP and hopefully they're going to kind of take off. But nothing for me in this game is cash viable. It's just Carrasco in tournaments and maybe like a flyer on JD or Betts.
Yeah, the Dodge. I mean, who's been kind of cold, man? Mookie Betts, man. I think he struck out a couple times against Bieber. He hasn't looked too great, so maybe it's not the right time to take him. Carrasco is kind of interesting, right? Like he's got some pretty good case stuff. The Boston obviously doesn't strike out a ton, but they can occasionally. We like Carrasco on the road. I don't like the ballpark. I feel like something's up here. Like, why is Carrasco 9.5 against Brian Johnson at 6.3? I mean, the price has something to do with it, but it just seems odd to me that, he's barely a favorite. I know they're on the road, but in my opinion, as far as like quality of pitcher, Cleveland seems to have the edge here. Yet Vegas has this line, very close. So I don't know. I mean, it's always hard to get a read on these games. These guys step up. They play each other hard, right? It's tough, man. Carrasco at 9.5 is tempting. He is on the road. We like him better on the road, but this is a shitty park for pitching. So it's like a lot of signs going one way, a lot of signs going the other. I would lean towards the Cleveland bats, obviously, but something's kind of up here to me. I mean, this line kind of seems fishy. Either way, Carrasco at 9.5, probably reserved for deeper tournaments. This whole game is a tournament game, right? There's nothing you want here in cash, right?
Yeah, no, especially, and I think Vegas is onto this whole, Cleveland's much better from the left side than the right side, so that's going to tell you a lot. I mean, really, when they have to bat from the right side, I almost don't want to play them at the price. I mean, it's just too much for Ramirez and Lindor.
They do get pretty expensive. Next up, we've got Jake Junis of the Kansas City Royals visiting Ryan Stanek of the Tampa Bay Rays. No line just yet for this game. I guess they're waiting on the pitching information. The Rays put up some runs today, so it wasn't all that exciting. Blake Snell just dominated these Royals. Maybe a situation where we have to dig in tournaments on that on who the reliever is. What do you think, Johnny?
Yeah, I mean, 5-6 innings pitched. This guy he's just a monster. Oh man, Junis, like I guess he's okay. It's just I just probably not going to do it. I'm not really into throwing anybody in Kansas City. The only guy I would even question to play here is going to be Sal Perez. But they've really thrown the towel here. I think Junis is a better pitcher than he's been showing, but he doesn't have the run support. He doesn't have a chance to get a win, and I don't think that he's going to get a lot of strikeouts here. So without a chance of a win, I don't really want him at this price. On the other side here with Ryan Stanek, yeah, you can't pitch him, but if we can find out who the middle reliever is and the long reliever that's going to go here, he might be worth a shot on the slate. So we should dive into that one today. Hopefully we do dive in and we find out something that we don't get donked and get a 0. So we'll look at that today. Tampa Bay, like the guys you want to look at, Bowers, but he's been kind of cold lately. You can look at G-Man Choi, Joey Wendell, he's fine, Willie Adames, and CJ Cron. But I'm not really interested too much in the Tampa Bay Rays in this spot here. I think there's some better offenses that we can attack today.
Yeah, I've fallen for the Rays trap a little too much. It was really only like 1 week, maybe a week and a half where they were like breaking slates. After that, it's very rare that you needed the Rays. And Jake Junis is a guy I do like to pick on from time to time, given his fly ball rates, his hard contact. But it's typically when he's put into a hitter's park. I don't really like picking on him when he's in a huge park. When he's at home or, in the Rays in a dome in a huge park. These are the games he gets away with because you really, really have to hit the ball extremely high. You got to get the right launch angle, all that shit. Otherwise, just a fly out. And on top of that, he does have strikeout upside, has a pretty nasty slider. So I'm with you, man. I think Junis, 7-2, I never like to play 7-2 for Junis. But in tournaments, I think he is in consideration even against the Rays. But probably, most likely, I'll probably pass. I'm curious to see if we can find out who the relief pitcher is coming in for the Rays. Maybe a Chirinos, maybe a Beeks. If it's Beeks, I could be interested. I know that he hasn't looked too great, but he looked okay against the Red Sox, his former team. And the Royals against lefties, they are just awful. They strike out a ton. If it's Chirinos, it's maybe, but I'm not totally sold on Chirinos. Plus, the Royals against righties, they have been pretty pesky. Guys like Lucas Duda, Sal P hits righties well. You got Alex Scoren, who doesn't strike out a lot. They've been pretty pesky to righties. But that's a dangerous game to play. We've learned that the hard way, right, Johnny? That is a dangerous game to play with these Rays. They think they're playing chess out there.
Absolutely. But if it is Beeks, I'll tell you, against this Kansas City lineup, I definitely would take a couple shots.
Right, exactly. And JPP specifically, of course.
Yes. Yeah, not in cash, no.
Casey Kelly of the San Francisco Giants, your San Francisco Giants, visiting Noah Syndergaard, a.k.a. Thor, of my New York Mets. Total in this game, currently 7.5. The Mets minus 164 at home, 83 degrees, 57% humidity. What do you know? It looks like it might not rain tomorrow. Holy hell. I better go to the beach or some shit. What do you got here?
Yeah, so Syndergaard's firmly in play here against these Giants. I just don't really like his price. He hasn't been, anything like super special the last few games. So, I'm not crazy about the price. I probably won't end up here, but I can see some people wanting to go here because it is against the Giants, who just have been terrible. I can't pitch, Casey Kelly here, relief pitcher. I don't think he's going to go deep enough in the game. I like the price at $5K, but I just can't go here. Going to be a Giants bullpen game, and just not really interested in these Giants. We have to wait to see what lineup comes out there today. But if we get the Crawford Belt kind of a stack with like Posey and Longoria, it's really going to take me off of Syndergaard. So, like right now, I have a little bit of interest in Syndergaard, but probably in GBPs. But no real other interest in this game.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you. Syndergaard against the Giants does seem like a decent spot. I like the fact that they're starting to let Syndergaard throw. His last game, which was August 17th against the Phillies, he didn't do great. Gave up 4 earned runs. But what I like is they let him 115 pitches. They let him throw. And he is at home, nice ballpark. I do think he's interesting in tournaments, but I am worried, man. We're not seeing the strikeout upside. Just like since he's come back from injury, he's just not showing it to us. I mean, against the Marlins, that was one of his better games. He had 7 Ks in 7 innings, still not Noah Syndergaard-esque, and he still gave up 3 runs. He's given up 3, 4, 3, and 4 earned runs in his last 4 games. So I'm a little worried. I think it's a reasonable price. We know this is a guy that's normally priced way higher than 10-2 on DraftKings. The matchup is there. I mean, Evan Longoria started off with a 2-run dong, and the Giants just couldn't hit Steven Matz, who's been getting beat around like I don't even know. But yeah, I think that Syndergaard isn't playing tournaments specifically, and I think the Mets, man, they're still hot. I mean, I think the Mets are fine. They did their thing today. Ended up, I saw at the top of tournaments, I saw guys like McNeil, Conforto. The Mets are still doing things, man. So on a 10-game slate, a little bit smaller, it's going to be very humid because of all the rain we've had here. I don't mind it, man. These Mets are going to hit the ball hard, and they're going to keep going cheap and low-owned. And, hey, and maybe in tournaments, that's just something we got to ride right now. Jacob Nix of the San Diego Padres visiting John Gray of the Colorado Rockies. Total in this game, currently 10.5. Colorado minus 240 at home, 74 degrees, 53% humidity. Are you pitching John Gray against the Padres in Coors?
Yeah, I mean, the price is right here for John Gray at 7,800. I mean, I can definitely see people going here. I'm not a big fan of liking to pitch pitchers in Coors, so I'm probably not going to do it. Maybe if I was going to play some donkeys or something like that tomorrow, I would. But it's really hard to look at these Padres on the other side. They're just too expensive, Yeah, 5.5, 5.3. I mean, you got 5.3 for Travis Jankowski, and this guy's terrible. Like, out of all the players, why is this guy that expensive? He's not good at baseball. So for me, like, I can't really play these Padres against John Gray. It's just there's no value. Jacob Nix, no interest at all. But I do have a lot of interest in these Rockies against him tomorrow. I would be surprised if there's a 6.5 run total here for the Rockies here in this game. You definitely want to take a look at Charlie Blackmon, Carlos Gonzalez. You can always play Arenado. Story kind of let us down today, but you can look there. And David Dahl. They're all really priced up, though, if you want these bats here. So you're really going to have to make a sacrifice with your pitching if you want to do a full stack here. But I definitely think a full stack of Rockies is in play tomorrow against Jacob Nix. And again, if you're a risk taker and you want to play some John Gray, $700 isn't a bad play.
Yeah, I think John Gray is definitely an option in tournaments. I wouldn't be surprised if he got some ownership. I think that the core stigma is really starting to wear off. I think people are tired of getting burned by playing bats and cores, and like they're still gonna be the optimal and more popular stack on the slate. But I think less and less people are kind of buying into it. So I do think Gray will get some ownership, and I'm fine with it. The Padres, not a very good offense. Gray is somebody who, while anybody can get blown up in this ballpark, he's somebody who's pitched here quite a bit. I mean, he's been with the Rockies his entire career. And he pitches good here, I mean, honestly, like for the most part. I mean, obviously you prefer him on the road, but he has pitched well here. And in my opinion, he seems to rely more on strikeouts when he's here. He doesn't really want to pitch the contact. And I mean, he's a strikeout kind of guy, but a lot of pitchers come to this ballpark and kind of struggle for it, and he's not one of them. So, yeah, I like Gray at 7-8 in tournaments specifically. And the Rockies, I mean, I haven't been playing cores a whole lot, but I do think this Jacob Nix kid is kind of in over his head. He's been giving up a lot of hard contact, especially to righties. I do think that Arenado, Story, and LeMahieu, like some of these righties might be worth looking at, while I think a lot of the other people are going to try to jam in some of these lefties like Charlie Blackmon, Carlos Gonzalez. I think they're fine. I just think the righties shouldn't necessarily be ignored. But this does seem like an actual pretty good spot for the Rockies against Jacob Nix. Odorizma Despaigne again of the Los Angeles Angels, visiting Clay Buchholz, the ace, the new ace of the Arizona Diamondbacks. Total in this game is 8.5. Arizona minus 190. Clay Buchholz is back with a vengeance. What do you got, Johnny?
So, what did you think you were going to say? Despaigne? Were you think you're going to pronounce? What did you think you're going to say more of this season? Despaigne or Clay Buchholz as an ace?
Yeah.
What did you think? I think Clay Buchholz as an ace I don't know, but he's proven it, man. This guy's been pretty good here. Despaigne, I don't even know why he's on the major league roster. This guy's terrible. He's cheap at 4,400, but he's just terrible. So I can't pitch him. There's just no way. Like I can see the way things have gone in cash, people just punting the cheapest guy, but it's not a great matchup. This guy's going to get just lit up tomorrow here by the Diamondbacks. I like the way the Diamondbacks set their lineup today. If they set up the same lineup tomorrow, similar, I think they'll be in a great spot here again. Clay Buchholz is in a fine spot here against the Angels. We got to look at what the Angels are going to put out there in the lineup. But if they're going to throw that same watered down lineup that they threw today, like I'm definitely on board with Clay Buchholz, especially knowing it's at home. So it really comes down to it. I think if they have Ohtani in here, might have take a little bit of ownership off of him, from me at least. So we have to look at the lineup here tomorrow. But this projected lineup is gross. So I want all the Buchholz tomorrow.
Yeah, I can't pay $10K for Buchholz. I know he just went for 33 against the Padres. I just can't do it, man. The other thing is, I really don't like the fact that, obviously it's good he did a complete game, but he did throw more pitches than he's used to throwing, at least recently. Threw 112 pitches. That is by far the most he's thrown all season. That's typically not a great thing. Obviously, this year we've seen guys bounce back with no problem, but we've also typically seen those guys get like an extra day of rest or something worked in there. I don't necessarily want to pick on Buchholz because he has been doing a really good job, and the D-backs bullpen isn't as bad as some people think. But I don't think there's no way I could pay $10K for Buchholz. If I lose because I didn't want to pay $10K for Buchholz, so be it. As far as Despaigne, 4.4 is a really cheap price. I don't think he's any good, but at the same time, as good as I keep on thinking these D-backs are, they just struck out, and like they are in real baseball, right? They are in first place, but they just struck out 12 times or I don't even know, but they struck out a ridiculous amount to Pena. Like, they got to him early, put up a lot of runs, and then they just struck out like at a ridiculous clip. So it's kind of tough for me to I want to back the D-backs, but at the same time, I don't want to overreact to Despaign's last start. He was in Arlington. This is a completely different environment. This has been one of the better pitching parks in the game. So I've got a little bit of a twisted take. I'll acknowledge that. Initially, my first reaction is, yeah, I do like the D-backs, but again, they just seem to be that team where when you stack them, they put up runs early and then they just kind of stop the rest of the game. That's kind of been their trend all season, and they did it again tonight. They started off red hot and then just kind of stopped. So we'll have to take a look. And they did strike out a shit ton. Wow, I couldn't believe how much they struck out.
I almost don't want to stack them unless I know the roof's going to be open.
Right. Oh, if the roof's open, that's exactly. If they open up that roof and we get this hot temperatures, they just haven't been doing it. They for some reason, they decided that, you know what, people in baseball just don't like home runs. So we're going to close our roof every day, add a humidor, and just make it very, very hard to hit home runs in this ballpark. I don't know. Doesn't sound like the best marketing move to me. Last time I checked, people want to see home runs. But anyway. Oh, you know what? People like to see hits, and the NFL is trying to turn it into flag football. So I guess it kind of does make sense, right? It's just an all-around trend. Anyway, last game here, Johnny. We got Jack Flaherty, the St. Louis Cardinals, visiting Walker Buehler of the Los Angeles Dodgers. I believe Jack Flaherty grew up in Los Angeles and should have tons of family at this game. 77 degrees, 54% humidity. The Dodgers minus 156 at home. What do you got here, Johnny?
Yeah, so as much as I keep looking down this list here of these, 9+ K guys, it makes me want to throw pitch Buchholz even more. Flaherty at 10-9 tomorrow against these Dodgers. He's been good, but this isn't a good matchup for him. I know he's a hometown boy, but he might get a rude awakening, homecoming for him tomorrow. Against these Dodgers. So I know they've been their bats kind of dormant, not really explosive, but they can go there. And anytime they can break out, this might be the game tomorrow. So I'm not really interested in Walker Buehler. Tomorrow Cardinals can get to him for sure. So I'm going to go ahead and pass on Buehler. But I do like the Dodgers here against Flaherty. Probably not going to do a stack tomorrow. I have a little bit of respect for Flaherty, but I think these Dodgers can get to him. And the Cardinals, though, I do have a lot of interest in the Cardinals. They love right-handed pitching. And some of these guys are pretty cheap. So I think you can definitely take these guys. We're finally getting Matt Carpenter under 5K. So it's definitely a good spot for him tomorrow. So I like the Cardinals here. I could see the Mariners playing the Dodgers, just probably not going to go there tomorrow.
Yeah, both these pitchers, I'm pretty sure they look pretty good. Walker Buehler threw 93 pitches in his last game, but still managed to get a 28. 8 Ks against Seattle. They're not an easy team to strike out. Flaherty also coming off a great game against the Brewers. Before that, had an awesome game against the Royals. The Royals, you expect that, but then also against the Pirates. This could be an interesting game. One thing about the Dodgers, as Ponce de Leon reminded us tonight, they do strike out. They can. Their strikeout numbers on the season are never strong, but like we've seen guys like Pena, who struck out a bunch of D-backs, come in here and strike out a bunch of Dodgers before. And we've seen Ponce de Leon. He had a high pitch count, but he did it at 8 Ks in like 4 innings, which was pretty impressive. So Flaherty's got some nasty stuff, man. I think he could be interesting. Maybe he's playing with a little bit extra motivation. This could be a little pitcher's duel. I'm more inclined, I think I'm more interested in Flaherty than Buehler, only because the Cardinals just seem really hot right now. And like of these two teams, in my opinion, they strike out less. That could be more so against lefties that they strike out less. But either way, I think I'm interested in both pitchers, but I do have tournament only interest in Flaherty. Obviously, you don't want to pitch a guy like that in cash games, but in tournaments, I could be sold on Flaherty. I would much rather play. I mean, I don't know, man. Maybe I'm crazy, but I would honestly much rather play Flaherty or Buehler over Buchholz at 10K. I just think both guys have way more upside. I know Buchholz is coming off a 33-point game, but he did have to go a complete game for that, which is just something that pitchers don't do very often. I don't know, but interesting. I do like John Gray a shit ton, though. I could tell you that.
I think what it is it's more the matchup. Like,
yeah.
Angels they're not just very good, and they're losing the DH, so it's you got to think about
this is truisms. That's going to do it for the game-by-game breakdown at this point. If you haven't already checked us out at WiseTake.com, I don't know what you're waiting for. Go check us out, man. See what we're working with. Join the Wise Take Nation. Join the real Wise Take Nation. We are a DFS community. We got content. We have all that good shit. Cash game articles, strategy sessions, live streams, all that good shit. We have all that. But we also, at the core, we're a community. So come check us out. Come rock with us real quick, man. You can get a day pass if you want to try out the content stuff and just see what we're rocking with. Make sure that, do some quality control. Go check it out, man. We got nothing to hide. We got that good shit. And, of course, if you are, if you're looking for a little more, if you really want to get down with the community, you're going to want to be a monthly member or higher. Get access to our Slack chat, man. That's where things really pop off. We cover a bunch of sports. We got football coming up right around the corner. We're all super excited. I know Johnny's excited. I'm excited. Paulie won't stop texting me research stuff about football, and it's getting me so pumped. I don't want him to stop. It's just he's been a little obsessive. But football, man, we're all excited at the nation, man. We got the football pass up. If you only want to play football this season, you will get access to the Slack chat with that. You'll get access to all the NFL content. It's all up on the site. My recommendation is just do the all sports way. It's probably the best way to go. You get access to everything. Cash is crushing golf and NASCAR, and we got MMA this week, and no NASCAR this week though. But just great things going on in general. So it's a great time to be a part of the Wise Take Nation. Go check us out, wisetake.com. Time to do some top threes, Johnny. Who are your top 3 pitchers tomorrow?
Yeah, so this is definitely the challenge that we got on this slate. Is just there's really not a lot of value. I think for me, I think I'm gonna look at Buchholz a little bit more. I'm gonna look into him a little bit more. I like him a little bit here. I think if we find out about Strasburg, he's got no limitations. He's going to be chalky. I think he's okay tomorrow. But I'm going to stick with Tehran. I'm going to go to Buchholz. Those are guys I like. And I'm probably going to roll with maybe some Carlos Carrasco if I can find some value here.
There you go. I like John Gray a lot at 7-8 for tournaments. I like Jack Flaherty, and then I think I like, I guess, Noah Syndergaard. I'm going to need some value, too. There's really not a ton of cheap guys I have all that much interest in. Maybe that'll change tomorrow, but I'm with you, Johnny. I'm not seeing a ton of cheap guys that I'm all that interested in. Could be a, tough day. Got to dig for some value. Top 3 stacks, Johnny. What do you got?
Yeah, so for me, top 3, I think you could take a look here at the Rockies for sure against Jacob Nix. And you're right. You can't fade some of these righties here. Before today's game, Story's been on the tear, so I think he's a fine play in Arenado too from the right side, as well as the lefties here. I think a 1 through 5 stack here or a 1, 3, 4, 5, 6 stack is a perfectly fine stack here against the Padres if you can fit them in. And yeah, as I said, I like the Cardinals here. I think the Cardinals are in a good spot here tomorrow. Definitely like them against Walker Buehler. and I think I'm gonna ride. And and this isn't a team I like a lot, but I don't play them very often. But I think the Miami Marlins are gonna get to Lance Lynn tomorrow. Yeah, I think that's where I'm gonna plant my flag. Those three teams.
Interesting, for sure, for sure. I'm gonna obviously the Rockies are the optimal stack, and they really do genuinely look like they're in a pretty good spot here. I'm gonna go with the Mets against Casey Kelly. After that, they've just been too hot for me to ignore, and it's a small slate, so I've got no excuses. After that, I think I will go. Man, I want to say that, but I want to say the D-backs, but I just can't. I'll go with the Cubs, man. I know they're up against a lefty. I don't love it, but if they get Liriano out of there quickly, there won't be too many lefties left in there. In the bullpen. Don Watch, Johnny. Who's going deep?
Yeah, so we've been on a pretty good roll here lately. So let's come up with a couple good ones. I'll fade on Coors Field, so I won't do any there. Let's go with. Let's go with Wilson Ramos over in Philadelphia against Steven Strasburg.
Ooh, against the Strassi Master. I'll go with some Javi Baez of the Chicago Cubbies.
Yeah, let's see. Let's go with Matt Carpenter against Walker Buehler.
All right. I'm going to go with Michael Conforto of my New York Mets.
And let's see my last one here. Let's go with Brian Anderson against Lance Lynn.
All right. I will go with give me Giancarlo Stanton against Trevor Richards. Boom. Dig it. And that's going to do it for the Why Take DFS podcast. If you're watching on YouTube, please click that thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel. If you're watching us on Facebook, give us a like and a share to support the Why Take Nation. If you're watching us on Twitch or Twitter, give us a follow, give us a retweet. And if you're listening to us on Podbean or iTunes, give us some 5-star reviews. Help bump us up those charts. All these things really help us out. Continue to do these shows for you for free. If you appreciate the nation, all we ask is you to show a little bit of love. It goes a long way with us here. Johnny, anything in closing before we get up out of here?
No, yeah, it looks like a decent slate tomorrow. Trying to fit in those bats can be tough with the lack of value that we have here at pitching. So hopefully some things open up here so we can have a nice day in DFS.
Yeah,
all.
I agree, man. Nice day for all. I like that. Nicely worded. For Johnny the Greek, for myself, the entire Wise Take Nation, as always, good luck.
Yeah.